Today, we're going to look at global trends and data. And you will think probably that Brian and I have been coordinating because we have some of the same data and topics when we go from US to global. We're going to look at GDP change, funding up vaccines, inflation, and then a few little tidbits of information. This is brand new today. Bloomberg came out with this, talking about a global rebound in gross domestic product, GDP. They actually have now forecast a little bit lower than what they had expected, down from about 4.8 to about 3.8. I mean 4.2 and in 22. This is on a global basis, and then 3.8 in 23. The slight slowdown from what they had a few months ago has to do with inflation, weaker prospects for growth in the U.S. because the Build Back Better law, which would have dumped immense amounts of capital into the market, is not going to be there. And then China being essentially closed at this point in time and seeing growth probably below 5% for the first time in 35 years. This is an interesting chart, came out from the World Economic Forum. This is the quarterly GDP in the third quarter of 21, okay? The growth of countries. Notice India in the third quarter was up almost 13%. The US was up about 0.6% of 1% in the third quarter only, okay? European Union up about 2%. The total of OECD countries, which are about 38 countries with supposedly developed economies, was about 1.1%. So in our third quarter, we were down, but not as much as Australia, which was down almost 2%. This is third quarter only. So it gives you kind of a snapshot. This is one of the most astounding charts that I've seen in years. This is the 2021 was a record year for global and US venture funding, exits of companies, unicorns, and more. Between 20 and 21, global funding of projects increased 111% year over year, from just about 300 billion to over 600 billion. What an astounding change. And it was across all sectors and geographies. This is a chart complement of MJ Shores, by the way. I mean, this is a tremendous change that was going to have lasting impact on growth around the world. From a normal of around 280 to 300 billion a year of funding of ventures, exits from companies, unicorns, to over 600 in 1 year. Now I got to do my monthly vaccine slide. Okay, so here we are. This is the COVID-19 vaccine boosters administered per 100 people around the world. As of yesterday, just about 61% of the world's population had received at least one dose. But look at the boosters, okay? The number of booster vaccines per 100 people. You can see India, Russia, all up down here, the world sitting at about 11%, the United States at about 25%, and then some of our apparently more developed friends in the 50 and 60 range. We got a long ways to go. We're sitting in the emerging market sector. Inflation, we talk about inflation. Well, this is a pretty good chart. This is Geopolitical Futures about a week ago. And we're in the 3 to 10% range of inflation. We're right along with Russia, South Africa, Brazil. That's not a family we'd kind of like to be in, frankly, not me anyway. You can see places like Turkey, sorry about that, Annette, well over 10%. In fact, it's probably over 20%. Iran sitting in here at huge amount. Venezuela down here. Canada, Australia, China, let's say Canada and Australia and most of Europe in the 0 to 3% range. China, we never do pay attention to their statistics because they're not real. Global food prices. This is the United Nations index, dipped slightly in December, but from an all-time high. This is an index of that's, notice how high the index was back in the mid 2000s, came down, and then of course COVID hit and the cost of food. This is the Food and Agricultural World Food Price Index. A slight dip, but that's only 1 month, but look at the rapid run up in inflation. Now, this is one that's near and dear to my heart because I came out of the oil and gas industry. See that the this is Brent futures and West Texas. These are dollars per barrel. Notice how it came down. It was really coming down nicely to the mid 60s in last August. Then it started coming up. It dropped in the December. Now it's going back up again. Most of the predictors think we're going to probably hit $100 a barrel in the third quarter of 21 and 22, and I guarantee you that's going to have an impact on inflation. Now, I was just in Louisiana on business, and a gallon of gas there was $2.49, and here it's almost $5 a gallon. Now, I had to throw this one in. I just literally came off a webinar on South Africa and what its political, economic, and legal structure is. But they had this chart in there about emerging market currencies. The ZAR is the South African currency. Here's Turkey. Sorry about that, Matt. This is over about a year's time, and the index of currencies pretty well stayed about the same except for Turkey, which has very interesting economics, different than anyone else in the world. Now, this is one of my favorite charts. I came across this a week or so ago. This is the internet giants by year, and look way back in 1998. AOL and Yahoo were right up there. Some of us remember MSN, okay, and Netscape. Wow, those real biggies. Amazon was way down here. Now, as we start moving across into the early 2000s, we get to 2013, and Yahoo is at the top. I can't even remember when last time I went to Yahoo. I don't even know if it's there anymore. Google, of course, had popped from just here up to near the top. AOL was still there. Look at AOL still up here. Okay, and now we start coming towards today. And look where we are. Google, Microsoft, Yahoo is still there. That's Yahoo Finance, by the way. Amazon up there. Of course, Yahoo's a joke. AOL is long gone. I don't go to Yahoo, so I don't really know much about that, but it's up there as far as the number of hits. Amazon, of course, is high. I'm surprised Amazon's not way at the top, but it's really interesting to see which ones have stayed on top and which ones have faded. Hotmail, here's Hotmail back here. Those old of us those of us who are old remember these. Could somebody please turn off their microphone, please? Thanks. Interesting. Facebook's just arrived here in 2008, but I think that's an interesting chart. So I'm going to finish now by wishing you all that you'll find your cash cow in 2022.